guess we get started. So we're gonna be talking about defrost timers, what fridges are doing when they're not cooling right, and some things to check on these from here on out. So, how many of y'all change defrost timers? All right, do y'all change the thermostat when you change the defrost timer? Yeah, you always need to. You always need to. You don't know if that timer thermostat is sticking and not working or not.
You ain't got no good way to test it either.
No, there's a way to test it if you've got time. We'll put it in a cup of water and freeze it. You can test it.
Well, that's a long way.
You ought to hook up your meter.
Huh?
You couldn't hook up your meter.
No.
You can, but these don't work. These won't work if it's above 30 degrees.
Right. It's got to be cold.
These don't close till it gets down below freezing. So, just kind of get into it a little bit. You got your control in your refrigerator right here like this.
Well, you got the easy kind.
Yeah. This defrost timer right here. You can take a screwdriver. You can rotate this to manually test that timer if you want to. Put a screwdriver in there and you can rotate this.
And you'll get those fine go click,
Did you hear that click?
click.
This one here just kicked back on. So this rotates once a day. It'll rotate all the way around. Once a day, this will go into defrost mode. But if you tested it, you just keep rotating this till you hear it. You rotate it till you hear it make a click.
24 hours later. Click.
You hear the click?
Now the fan stops.
Yeah.
Now
Fan stops, the light will stay on in the refrigerator, but everything stops running on.
I don't know, like 15 minutes, hour, 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's how long this timer runs when it's in defrost mode. But it won't heat that whole time. That heats till this gets above 30 degrees. And the timer will go ahead and rotate through its 15 or 30 minute cycle, but it quits heating once this reaches its temperature. A lot of times, you can take, when you kick it in defrost mode, if you'll sit here and watch this, you can see these coils right here. You can see these coils flow right here through these fans right here. You'll see that the element which comes down around like this, all the way in and up here, it'll start glowing.
So how do you unthaw it?
You turn that around and click, that means you're the timer?
No, that just means that you manually put it in defrost mode. Me and Kendall changed one the other day. We rotated it first, and it never did heat up. So we ended up having to change that timer. So, you know, just because it rotates around and you hear it click, don't mean it's going to work. There's a couple other things you got to check when you do that. Usually what I'll do, because I always change this. If I change the defrost timer, I change this just because it's a cheap part, and that part fails a lot of the time. And it just hooks right up here. We want to make sure you put it back on the coil where it was. What that timer does, it stays on, and if this is cold and iced up, it'll heat till that reaches above 30 degrees up here. But when you talk about that being iced up and kicking it in, 30 minutes probably not enough time to melt all that ice off, and what it'll do, it'll start running again and just freezes everything back up again because it can't move air. So if you're going to check one of these elements, if I pull this back off, here's your wires for your element right here. One over here, one over here. Here, Jason, I'll get you to help me. So what I'll do is I'll on this out and see if it's working. See if the element's good. If it's good, you should have sound on it. That tells you it's good.
Okay.
Now if we check this element, if we check this thermostat right here, you can leave this hooked up.
So is there any time it's good and it ain't gonna make a sound? Or is it every time it's bad?
No, if it don't make a sound, if it's not opening out something, then it's bad, it's open. So if we wanted to check this thermostat, we've got this wire over here hooked up, we do the same thing. You check that. See, it's dead. That's because it's above 30 degrees. Actually, it's good, but because it's above 30 degrees, it ain't gonna work. Here's one that's in ice now. See if it's So it's good. So because it's below 30 degrees, it would work. It would start heat. So if you check these two things and they're good, more likely it's your timer. You can check your voltage. If this was plugged up and you had it defrost mode, you set your meter to volts. Jason would check this wire, and I would check this one. Should have 120 volts right there. Know what I'm saying?
Just plug deep.
Yeah. Something else too, whenever you change the defrost timer, always make sure your numbers line up down here. Like it'll be 1, 4, 2, 3 or something like that. Make sure them are the same numbers that you're plugging that back onto. Some of these screw in, this one screws in, some of them just snap in right here.
There's only 2 different types.
Yeah. Well, some of them different number sequences though.
Really?
Yep. Yep, they are. What about if you got a refrigerator that's freezing the food in the refrigerator? Y'all ever get calls for that?
Yes.
Yeah, we had one.
Huh? Well, no, not really, because this up here, it circulates air and it just makes a cycle. But if this temp control right here goes bad, which is the switch right here, but it's got this big long coil that comes, copper wire that comes up through here that tells it when to kick on and kick off. That will cause them to kick, to run continuously and freeze stuff in the bottom, even all the way to the bottom. Oh, this one here, talking about the drain on it. This is the easy one to clean the drain on because it just slips in here. You pull it out, usually stopped up right here. That's awesome. Just take it to the sink, wash it out good, and you're done. The way I check my refrigerators and freezers, somebody says it's not cooling, put a thermometer in the top, a thermometer in the bottom, and I'll go away for about 10 minutes and I'll come back, check it. This should be worse 10 degrees down. 10 degrees is probably not going, if it's 10 degrees or above, your refrigerator's probably not going to get cool enough. So, and about 40 degrees in the refrigerator or less. I don't know if you ever get complaints on one being hot in between the doors.
I ain't never heard it.
You never heard that? And if you ever get one, I mean, it'll be hot.
I'm
It's
outside,
hot.
so I don't get much.
If it's that, it's usually that fan in the back on the bottom is not working. There's a fan in the back. Got to rotate when the compressor's on. That cools the freon level stuff. You got one up here where the freezer's cold and it's warm down here. If it's not froze up, then that fan is probably out.
Well, what it calls one, you open the door, it's got icicles almost on top here, and then all your meat stuff is frosted over. What would cause that?
Seal.
Door seal's jacked up, man.
I'm getting ready to show y'all the biggest reason the refrigerator don't work right. Anybody see it?
I see a lot of lint down there.
Dirty.
And I've done cleaned it once in the first clean. This coil right here,
You didn't do a very good job, Jim.
it gets covered over with dirt and dust.
Oh, I see them, you can't even tell what's back there.
It won't even rotate, it won't even force air through it. One of these is handy to have.
Roll that side.
Well, he got good.
This is a brush where you can just take it and you go down through and you clean them coils like that.
Oh, where'd you
got
get
one
that
there,
at?
You get them at the appliance store.
I mean,
Like
what's it called?
Duval's, it's a refrigerator for
Oh,
clean
okay.
refrigerator coils. That's what it's made for.
Now, if you was in a tenant's apartment, would you have to lay it down and have to clean it?
I would not lay it down. I just done that. I want y'all to see that dirt on that
Right there.
coil right here.
Yeah, if you don't got one, just go to the drawers and get one.
There is other things you can do too. If you don't have one of these and you're in a crunch, you can reverse the hose on your shop vac and blow it out. But you're gonna have a mess clean up.
And show them that piece of, that falls down and stops the thing also.
I mean, actually, I think it's this piece right here that got loose.
Styrofoam.
This will, it comes loose and that'll fall down in there and wrap around them blades. And then stop that fan.
Maybe that's
My mouth story was better.
It could be, and that's usually when you start getting heat up there by your doors.